Hello and welcome to VTV News live at 3 p.m. Hanoi time. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Dai Chang and here check out the headlines for this hour. Party leader Nguyễn Phú Trọng is currently on a working visit to the U.S. We'll bring you an update on his first activities here. Laotian Vice President began his official visit to Vietnam, which aims at measures to boost the two countries' traditional friendship. And then we'll meet with some local residents in Thái Nguyên province who voluntarily guard riverbanks to tackle the flood issues. The top story for this bulletin, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam Nguyễn Phú Trọng and the Vietnamese delegation arrived at Andrews Military Airport in Washington, D.C. at 8 a.m. on Monday local time, starting his official visit to the U.S. at the invitation of the U.S. administration. The party chief was welcomed at the airport by representatives of the U.S. government, Vietnamese ambassador to the U.S. Phạm Quang Vinh, and members of the Vietnamese community in the U.S., as well as diplomats from ASEAN countries in the U.S. This is the first time a General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam has made a visit to the U.S. The visit takes place at a time important to Vietnam-U.S. relations, as the two countries are marking the 20th anniversary of the normalization of their relations. As part of Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng ongoing trip to the United States, on Monday local time he met with a U.S. Trade Representative Michael Froman. At the meeting, the party leader congratulated the U.S. administration on being granted the Trade Promotion Agency authority by the U.S. Congress, a positive signal for the process of the Trans-Pacific Partnership negotiations towards an early conclusion of the trade deal. Froman hailed the achievements in economic and trade cooperation between the two countries, noting that there is still huge potential for propelling economic and trade links in the future. Party General Secretary Trọng also urged the U.S. to widen its doors for Vietnamese goods and recognize Vietnam as a market economy. He added that Vietnam has shown its commitment to TPP negotiations and will closely cooperate with the U.S. and other countries to speed up an early finalization of the negotiation process. Still in news that related to General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng working visit in the U.S. On Monday local time, he attended the handover ceremony for the transfer of a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner to Vietnam Airlines and visited the Thomas Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C.
The party chief attended the handover ceremony for the transfer of a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner to Vietnam Airlines on July the 7th. The ceremony was attended by more than 200 delegates, ministers, and ambassadors. The aircraft will be delivered to Vietnam Airlines later this month. Vietnam Airlines will be the first airline operators in Asia Pacific to operate the Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner and Airbus A350-900 XWB. The General Secretary and his delegation also paid a visit to the Thomas Jefferson Memorial the same day. The memorial house boasts many archives and items related to the late president. Thomas Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence in 1776, which provides the basics of inspiration for late Vietnamese President Ho Chi Minh's Declaration of Independence in September 1945, which then gave birth to the Democratic Republic of Vietnam.
Now on to some domestic news. A joint Vietnam-Oregon Initiative conference was held in Quảng Nam province on Monday. This conference sets a background for the Central Province to work closely with the U.S. state of Oregon on community-based early warning and disaster mitigation. The Central Province has frequently suffered droughts, floods, and increased salinity from saltwater intrusion in recent years. Representatives from Oregon Portland universities shared the experience in personnel training, construction of disaster-proof facilities, and storm alert stations. The Vietnam-Oregon Initiative started in May 2014 with the objective of building a comprehensive and effective partnership in disaster mitigation and public administration. The conference was co-hosted by Guangnam authorities and Portland University as part of activities to mark the 20th year of Vietnam-US relations. In other news, on Tuesday morning, Laos Vice President Buanang Vorachit began his official visit to Vietnam at the invitation of Vietnamese Vice State President Nguyễn Thị Doan. Receiving the delegation, Vice State President Nguyễn Thị Doan discussed with the Laotian Vice President measures to boost the friendship and collaboration between the two countries, especially at regional and international dialogues. During his visit to Vietnam, the Laotian Vice President will meet with high-ranking Vietnamese leaders, the Vietnamese Liaison Committee, and Vietnamese military experts who contributed in the Laotian Revolution. Regarding Vietnam-Laos friendship, Vietnamese Minister of Public Security General Trần Đại Quang expressed his delight at the positive development of the two countries' relations. The comments were made at his meeting on Monday with the Laotian Acting Minister of Public Security Som Keo Silavong, who is on a visit to Hanoi. The two sides reviewed the result of cooperation last year, which included improved cross-border police liaison. For his part, Silavong thanked Vietnam for its support to the Laotian Ministry of Public Security Representative Office in Vietnam. The two pledged to continue their cooperation to maintaining political stability, social order and security, and accelerating the international integration process of each nation. The project to restructure rice production in the Mekong Delta region has been implemented for 2 years. The campaign has resulted in greater added value and higher incomes for farmers here. Sóc Trăng province in particular has established hundreds of large-scale rice farms. This has helped farmers cut costs and increase rice yields. We have more in the following.
This is the third season these farmers have participated in cooperatives that are growing rice in large-scale fields. This is a new way of doing business, a win-win situation for both farmers and enterprises. Mỹ Tho district has established a special zone to produce high-quality rice for export.
We are earning more money now. Our rice yields are also higher. We previously each earned 2 million dong per month. Since we worked on a large-scale farm, we have earned a monthly income of 3.5 million dong.
We made a profit of 15 to 16 million Vietnamese dong per hectare in the past, but now each hectare brings us nearly 30 million Vietnamese dong as profit. That is great for us.
As part of the project to restructure rice production, Sóc Trăng province has reorganized 86 cooperatives and set up around 1,000 new cooperatives. 349 large-scale rice fields have been set up, spanning 37,000 hectares. In the model, farmers receive some funding for seedlings and agricultural supplies and sell rice through contracts.
We will improve infrastructure to facilitate sustainable rice production. We are also fostering the connections among farmers, cooperatives, and enterprises to upgrade our value chains.
With this new way of doing business in rice production, higher quality rice seedlings and output assurance through contracts, farmers can increase their income by 3 to 5 million dong or 150 to 250 US dollars per hectare. This is seen as a positive result of the project in Sóc Trăng province.
Storage technology is a key element in providing Vietnamese agro-produce to the global market. Lychee and longan are prime examples of popular export fruit finding favor in new markets. However, the country currently only boasts 2 irradiation centers. This is far too small to process Vietnam's lychee, let alone other fruit. We have more in the following.
According to the director of the Hanoi Irradiation Center, the biggest challenge for raising added value in agro-produce is the lack of funding. This irradiation center costs 1.5 million US dollars. However, the center needs another 500,000 US dollars to build frozen storage facilities, quarantine area, and packaging plant. To export lychees or longan to the US, Vietnamese enterprises have to provide irradiation certificates.
Right now, the Ministry of Science and Technology hasn't allocated adequate funding for us to build the necessary facilities to run this center. The application process is also very complicated.
There are just 2 irradiation centers operating in Vietnam. However, they are both in the south. Transporting lychee to the south is costly, and it can damage them.
The issue now is to find the fund for the operations of the Northern Irradiation Center. Next week, I will talk with the Minister of Science and Technology to find a solution to this issue.
If this system runs properly, it will radiate 20 to 30 tons of lychee daily. According to Minister Phat, technology is the key solution to raise added value for agro-produce.
In our agricultural reform master plan, we agree that the reform must be applied in all stages of the value chain. It must be implemented in the production stage, the harvesting and storage stage.
Increasing the added value for Vietnamese agro-produce is a key solution to raise the competitiveness of Vietnamese products in the global market.
By the end of this year, the transport sector will have to complete 59 key traffic infrastructure projects. Minister of Transport Đinh La Thăng stressed the target at a conference that reviews the sector's implementation in the first half of this year, held in Hanoi on July the 6th. Reports at the conference showed that the majority of ongoing projects have initially met their set schedules and quality requirements. However, some vital projects, such as Hanoi's urban railway connecting Cát Linh to Hà Đông, the Hanoi-Hải Phòng highway, or the upgrade of National Highway through Bình Định province, continue to lag behind schedule. Minister Thăng has asked authority to push forward with the construction of these projects. And in the following, let's check out the exchange rates between Vietnamese dong and some major currencies for today. Neighbors Vietnam and Cambodia agree on the cooperation agenda to strengthen diplomatic ties and people-to-people exchanges. And then we'll meet with some local residents in Thái Nguyên province who voluntarily guard riverbanks to tackle the flood issue. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, the first Vietnam-U.S. Higher Education Forum kicks off this morning in the northern province of Bắc Ninh as part of the 7th Annual Engaging Vietnam Conference. With an aim to further promote a robust bilateral cooperation of Vietnam-U.S. in terms of higher education, the forum has drawn the participation of 54 academics from 30 universities and colleges in the world.
There are yet many opportunities to boost higher education cooperation between Vietnam and the United States, participants said at the first ever Vietnam-U.S. Higher Education Forum in Bắc Ninh Province. Joining the event for the first time, Portland State University delivered good news for students across Vietnam.
Today, we will be announcing a $6 million scholarship fund for Vietnamese students to come study at Portland State University. So obviously, education is the primary mission of all universities.
The number of Vietnamese students studying in the United States has soared from just 800 around the time of normalization in 1995 to around 16,500 today, ranking first among the Southeast Asian countries and the 8th globally.
Now, those figures have speak for themselves. The fact that education is the fastest growing area in the cooperation between Vietnam and the United States. And at present, the United States is the second choice of Vietnamese students after Australia. So how to lure more Vietnamese students to study in the United States? Well, such an event like the forum today is considered an idea, and this university is taking their chances. The University of Hawaii at Manoa, which has a specific Asia focus, including Vietnamese language, has a long history of Vietnam students attending it since 1945.
The quality of Vietnamese students that we've had at our university is outstanding. One of the things that caused me to become engaged with this kind of work is every student that we've had in our College of Education at the master's degree level and at the doctoral level has done outstanding work, and they've actually come back to Vietnam in many cases and are holding very high-level administrative and teaching positions now.
The U.S. always say they are willing to provide favorable conditions for Vietnamese students. However, not every Vietnamese student suits the U.S. academic environment. English is the first barrier, and Vietnamese students must overcome it to seize their opportunities.
With nearly 100 academic submissions, the first Vietnam-U.S. Higher Education Forum has helped prepare Vietnamese students for today's globalized world, boosting their competitiveness in accessing U.S. universities. Hoài Lương, Vietnam Television, Bắc Ninh Province.
On Monday, July the 7th, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng and National Assembly deputies briefed the public in Tuy Nguyen District in the northern port city of Hải Phòng on the results of the recent National Assembly session. The Prime Minister underlined the government's main task of promoting higher economic growth, maintaining socio-political stability, strengthening defense, ensuring national sovereignty and territorial integrity, and successfully organizing party congresses at various levels. The Prime Minister agreed on the need to increase investment in rural areas while raising resources to improve socio-economic infrastructure. He promised more assistance for fishermen to boost production and at the same time protect national sovereignty. Neighbors Vietnam and Cambodia not only share a 1,200 kilometers of border, but also a growing friendship seen through the diplomatic ties and people-to-people exchanges between the two countries. And we'll find out more about the relationship in the following report.
Vietnam and Cambodia have been fostering friendship, seen through regular visits by high-ranking leaders, humanitarian cooperation through searching for the remains of Vietnamese soldiers, as well as other activities to boost socio-economic development.
Border provinces in the southwestern region have been good neighbors with Cambodia. We and our Cambodian friends also assist each other in production or health care. We hope that the Cambodian people can learn more about our work and maintain the friendship between the two countries.
The Southwestern Region Steering Committee and the Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association hosted a conference in Cần Thơ City on July 6 to strengthen the relationship between the four border provinces and Cambodia.
We hope to work with regional provinces to establish local friendship organizations. This will help organize more exchange activities between Vietnam and Cambodia and help strengthen our friendship.
At the conference, the two sides discussed and agreed on the cooperation agenda and pledged to work closely in order to offer advice and recommendations to central agencies on cementing ties among provinces between the two countries. The two agents also agreed on coordinate in many sectors, including organizing training for Cambodian workers, helping foster the relationship between the two countries and peoples.
Vietnam's armed forces suffered losses in the defeat of the genocidal Khmer Rouge Pol Pot regime in Cambodia. Cambodian General Paul Sarun has said that since those events, the Cambodian people have shown their gratitude for the great support provided by Vietnam and have continued to make efforts in fighting the remains of Vietnamese troops who died in the country. The Cambodian general made the comments at a meeting held in Ho Chi Minh City on July the 7th. We have more to follow.
The joint meeting was part of efforts to improve the recovery and repatriation of the remains of Vietnamese voluntary soldiers who died fighting in Cambodia.
Cambodian people have never forgotten the sacrifices made by Vietnamese soldiers who laid down their lives in Cambodia. As a result, we have actively worked with the Vietnamese teams in recovering the remains of some 15,000 Vietnamese in the past years. We will also spend great efforts to help find the remains of an estimated 4,000 which still lie undiscovered.
According to the Joint Special Committee of Vietnam and Cambodia, the remains of more than 4,000 Vietnamese specialists and volunteer soldiers who lost their lives in Cambodian battlefields have yet to be found. At present, the search is becoming more difficult as Cambodia urbanizes.
We will coordinate with Cambodia in getting more information from people who were involved in the war, even those from the other side. The Joint Special Committee between Vietnam and Cambodia will work closely to exchange lessons and carry out more inspection to better fulfill the search plan agreed between the two countries.
Một trong những giải pháp nữa là chúng ta giữa ủy ban chuyên trách của hai bên.
$310,000 have been earmarked by Vietnam for Cambodia to boost next year's repatriation efforts.
The Mekong Delta city of Cần Thơ authorities announced the agreement to open a Cần Thơ-Bangkok air route on July the 6th. The municipal committee and Viet Travel, a Vietnamese travel firm, had preliminarily consented to launch the new route on July the 21st. Viet Travel will run a charter flight using a 180-seat Airbus A320 plane provided by Thailand's Vietjet Air every 5 days. The flight will depart at Bangkok at 11:30 a.m. and land in Cần Thơ at 1:30 p.m. For central coastal provinces, protective forests play an important role in mitigating natural disasters, increased salinity and sand erosion. However, protective forests in this area have been damaged significantly in recent years, increasing the risks of natural disaster for local residents, especially during the monsoon season. The following report explores the problem in Quang Nam Central Province.
Casuarina forests in Bình Dương province have been protecting the nearby village from monsoons and sand erosions for over 30 years. This helped the local residents in their everyday production and earned the village the title Labor Hero. Now, however, these once vital protective forests have been wiped out.
In 1985, the village was awarded the title Heroes of Labor, mainly thanks to our cultivation of the protected forests. We were very proud. But now many local residents don't recognize the importance of the forests and have damaged it. If we don't protect the forests, it can negatively affect the lives of everyone here.
This large area of shrimp farms in Bình Hải commune have been abandoned because the lack of protected forests has led to the contamination of the water. Mr. Thọ, who owns 3 hectares of shrimp farms, shares his regret over the reduction in protected forests.
Now that the price of shrimp has dropped, we regret damaging the forests. If we still had the forests, the environment would be much better. We didn't realize that until now.
Central coastal provinces are losing their protected forests, and their residents are feeling the consequences every monsoon season. Planning by the local authorities and residents need to take into account the preservation of protected forests to mitigate the potential natural disasters and the protection of livelihoods.
Some 324,000 hectares of woodland in the central province of Quang Nam are currently at high risk of forest fires, according to the Vietnam National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting. July is the peak season in terms of heat in the region, raising the risk of wildfires to an all-time high. Meteorological forecasts also show a 15 to 30% slump in rainfall until at least September. Recent forest fires has occurred in Guizhou and Zhuixun districts. In light of this situation, Guangnan province authorities are stepping up precautionary measures, including forest inspections and issuing warnings to local residents. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng has issued an order regarding irrigation and dike system construction. The order includes several measures to improve and construct the dikes under Tân Mỹ irrigation system construction projects in the central province of Ninh Thuận. This is part of efforts to combat the prolonged drought that has been affecting the region. Following Prime Minister's decision, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has been designated to manage the project and seek contractors to complete constructions on time. Ninh Thuận is one of several provinces with the least rainfall nationwide. The Tân Mỹ Dikes and Irrigation Project, once operational, will prevent flooding at the beginning of planting and drought and increase salinity towards the end of cultivation. Now, flash floods are a serious issue in many localities, threatening the lives of many residents. However, people in Vạn Phái, a village in the northern province of Thái Nguyên, have taken the initiative to tackle their own flood issue. Let's find out more in the following.
Floods hit the banks of the Công River, which runs through Vạn Phái village, washing away a 40-meter-long stretch of the banks. Traffic has been blocked. Local residents believe one of the reasons was that the already weakened riverbank was made more vulnerable by the uncontrolled taking of sand from the river. Local authorities have implemented some measures to alleviate the adverse impact of the collapsed riverbank. However, this area has been severely harmed.
We have come here to see the impact of the incidents with our eyes. We are highly aware of the threat it poses to people's lives. We have asked the provincial authority for funding to help locals resolve the problem.
While the funding has yet to come, local people have voluntarily taken turn to guard the place to warn people traveling along the route.
We stand here to warn people about the danger. This helps save people from falling into the river.
This initiative is commendable, but not a long-term solution. As flooding this year is unpredictable and hard to deal with, local authorities are working to come up with sound solutions.
And VTV News continue with the updated weather forecast. And that's all we have for now. For information and updates, please log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. Once again, thank you very much for joining us and goodbye for now.